Bloomberg Politics contributor, our Democratic analyst, and of course, the democracy visiting fellow at Harvard Kennedy School's Ash Center. Easy for me to say, Jeannie. Ashley Davis, partner at S3, our Republican strategist, with us as well, because we're going to start talking about the idea of a third term here. Certainly Donald Trump has been talking about it, and it seems that he has read the Constitution when it comes to this idea. Here's the president on this idea of running in 2028.
Based on what I read, I guess I'm not allowed to run, so we'll see what happens.
It says you're trolling when you talk about a third term.
I don't think he said that. I don't think he just said term, but it's a very interesting thing. I have the best numbers for any president in many years, any president, and I would say that if you read it, it's pretty clear. I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad.
All right, if you didn't hear that over he was in the plane talking to reporters in the back of the plane. It's pretty clear I'm not allowed to run. It's too bad. The speaker knew about this. Mike Johnson talked about it earlier and was pretty clear about what the Constitution says. Listen.
I think the president knows, and he and I have talked about the constrictions of the Constitution, as much as so many of the American people lament that. The Trump 2028 cap is one of the most popular that's ever been produced. I don't see a way to amend the Constitution because it takes about 10 years to do that, as you all know, to allow all the states to ratify what 2/3 of the House and 3/4 of the states would approve. So I don't see the path for that.
Okay, so I think maybe we've put this to bed. Ashley Davis, you tell me.
Thank God. I've been saying this.
This keeps coming up because Steve Bannon keeps talking about it. Then a reporter asks, and it's a news story again.
Well, absolutely. And of course, the president likes to stir the pot a little bit because he does not want to be a lame duck.
Is that what this is about?
Oh, I think so. But also, why not stir the pot? Because that's what he does, right?
Yes.
And so I've been saying this all along that, and actually the speaker is a constitutional lawyer. So he actually knows this.
That, yeah.
Yes. But there's no way that this was going to happen. Plus, he's getting pretty old.
Well, that's true.
And so I just never thought this was going to happen. But it was always fun for people to like jump on because then it showed more that he was acting like a king and, you know, all of those talking points. But it's very helpful he puts it to bed. And then I thought it was interesting that he was actually touting both of potential replacements yesterday. I think it was yesterday, which was both Rubio and Vance. So he's got both of them. He's not necessarily just going for Vance.
Fascinating. I thought maybe even a dream ticket, according to what the president said. Maybe they could run together. Jeannie, what do you make of this? Because a lot of folks think this is just Steve Bannon and Donald Trump trying to troll the libs. Is there more to it than that?
You know, one of the best things I heard about this was somebody said, have you ever rented? When you rent, you don't even buy like a rug or like fix a window because you're going to be moving out. And what has Donald Trump done? He has knocked down the East Wing. And so he doesn't exhibit renter behavior, in other words. And it's not just his words, it's his actions. And so and you listen to that statement and he says things like, you know, as if he's just discovered the 22nd Amendment. Oh, it doesn't look like I can run. But I don't think anybody thought he was going to run. What he would do is do what he's done 50 times already since he's been there this term. That's declare a national emergency like the one we have in Portland or the one in DC or the one in LA and say, oh gosh, guys, I've got to stay on. So as much as I would like to believe this puts it to rest, I'm not so sure it does. I am a little worried about Mike Johnson. I am.
So it's
worried about
working.
Mike
This is why
Johnson.
Steve Bannon's doing this. This is amazing. So we will then talk about this for the next 3 years.
Listen, I said to someone yesterday, we are 9 months into this administration and a little bit more now, 10, and everyone's exhausted, right?
Yeah.
Republicans and Democrats, because he's going at lightning speed. Because listen, he may only have until next December, really, if the House flips especially, because if that happens, then all of the people in the administration are going to be called up in front of the House. And so there is like a limited time frame that's certain, which is between now and next December 31st for him to actually get his agenda done.
Really interesting. I want to ask you both about what's happening in the Senate, because this is the fun stuff. It's fun to talk about it, right? It's made for talk shows. That's why Steve Bannon talks about it every day. But there are a lot of questions about some of the other stories that we're following here today, specifically when it comes to trade, tariffs, Brazil, maybe Canada too. We'll see what these next couple of votes bring. But the Senate yesterday voted to terminate the tariffs that the president put on Brazil. Remember, he was personally offended by the way they had treated their former president, slapped 50% on there, and we saw a 52-48 vote with five, I believe it was five Republicans helping to push this through. Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, Tom Tillis. Granted, hey, look at that. I love the baseball cards on YouTube. Granted, these are the troublemakers, right, Ashley? But what does this say about the upper chamber drawing the line here when it comes to the Trump agenda?
Definitely it was a messaging vote. When you look at that, Mitch McConnell, I would say, I mean, he just feels freedom, right? Because he was never able to vote really what he wanted to do before. But a lot of these senators just don't believe in kind of the trade deals that the president's doing or how he's doing it. And I think this was an easy vote for them because this will never pass the House. It can't pass the House.
That's correct.
And so
Maybe
again,
they wouldn't have voted that way if they didn't have that.
maybe
covered.
not, but yeah, I mean, it's in my mind, it's an easy vote if you need to. And you have, listen, Kentucky, so for McConnell and Rand Paul, you have major impacts with, like, let's just say the whiskey industry.
That's
and
right.
so they would definitely want to say they're against tariffs.
Yeah. What do you think of the feisty five here, Jeannie? Collins, McConnell, Murkowski, Paul, Tillis, all voting with the Democrats. There goes CC again, if you don't know what they look like on YouTube. Does this resolution add up to news for you, or is this just what you would expect out of these five?
Yeah, go Cece. Those are amazing, and it's baseball season. She's doing it all. It's
That's right.
amazing. And I like your feisty five, Joe. You know,
Thank
I
you.
am surprised that more Republicans didn't vote the way of the feisty five, as you call them. And the reason is because on Tuesday, Donald Trump's tariff regime is going before the Supreme Court. And the argument is he has this power because it's an emergency. Now we've got him raising tariffs on Canada as a result of a campaign ad he doesn't like, hardly an emergency. And we've got him raising tariffs on Brazil because he doesn't like how they treat their former leader, hardly an emergency. So I think these feisty five are doing him a favor. It is a reminder that his arguments for these tariffs have not made sense from the minute he started Liberation Day. And if he wants to win that Supreme Court case, and he says he may go to the court and sit there himself, which is going to be great television. If he wants to win, he can't keep tariffing people for any old reason, like he doesn't like what they're doing domestically.
I feel like feisty5.com. Can we see if somebody's bought that yet, James? I that's mine if it's there. Look, we spent time last week talking about tariffs and Ronald Reagan after this Ontario ad ran. Ashley, is the Republican Party modulating its stance on tariffs, or is this just a follow Trump for now, and when he's done, we go back to hating this idea and embracing free trade?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think people are liking, if you believe the numbers that Besson's throwing out, that we have $400 billion by the end of the year that we're collecting in tariffs, and does that help with the deficit? If we put it towards, obviously we're going to put most of it towards the deficit. So will people like that? I just think that there's a lot of, Rand Paul, for example, is never going to like tariffs. And so I think everyone's willing to stick with the president right now in regards to majority of Republicans. But what happens if the Supreme Court does rule against the president? I mean, that's going to be a major
Paying that back.
And also, like, listen, let's see what happens tomorrow with his president with China, with his meeting with China.
True.
And maybe I'm assuming the goal is to get a pretty good deal. So going into the Supreme Court case, like, at least China's taken off the table. But we have to deal with India too. But India's tied up, as remember, with
You're right.
Russia.
You're right.
And Ukraine.
And that's not getting any better.
No.
And no one's talking about that here on the eve of the China meeting. So it's important that you brought that up. Requested host feisty5.com could not be resolved by DNS, Jeannie. I think we're going to get in on this. And I'll split it with
I
you guys
love it.
if this thing goes
Oh, I
to the
love
moon.
it.
It's available. That's right. See the stuff that we find out live here on the air?
You're going to go viral.
Absolutely. That's the idea. So, Jeannie, talk to us about the meeting tomorrow then. As Ashley mentioned, if there's a grand deal struck or even a framework that brings down tariffs with China, does the rest of this still matter?
It absolutely does. I am going to go with Ronald Reagan. And by the way, with most Republicans and most Democrats, which is that widespread tariffs have never been good for the economy, never been good for us in terms of security, and not been good politics. I mean, when the Republicans did this in the 1930s, they lost the House and the Senate for 60 years. Ronald Reagan was right in 1987. He is right today. And so I think we will see some movement forward with China tomorrow, but it's not going to be enough because these tariffs are not just about China or India. They are about our closest allies, closest friends, and closest neighbors, and they have nothing to do with emergencies. They have everything to do with Donald Trump's old commitment from back when he was a very young man that tariffs are the economic answer. He's sticking to it, but unfortunately for him, the Constitution doesn't allow it.
That's Jeannie Shanzano and, of course, Ashley Davis, our great panel today. They'll be back in our